Okay, so this is from 60 Minutes. It's a kind of biased news program. It's designed for entertainment more than honest reporting. But they're covering brain fog. Yeah, dissociation from being chronically online. And I'm like, that's me! So let's see what they go into. See if it's relevant.
What too much screen time
You almost forget who you are.
is really doing to young Australians.
This is how you can tell a good documentary from a bad one. Like an unbiased documentary will not have like the menacing music in the background. They'll document and they'll show it. And they're generally kind of boring. The core material is interesting, but the editing and all that is like very hands off. It's like we just want to show you this and you make up your own mind. These guys are totally different. They're pushing angles left, right, and centre.
Medical scans show significant shrinking
Physically
of the
shrinking the brain.
It's similar to what doctors see in elderly
As in, like,
with
there's
Alzheimer's
less
disease.
neuron clusters
So
and
concerning
connections.
is this condition?
I think it's the opposite. I think they haven't been able to form or create those. They're making it out as though the access to the internet or screen time reduces the size of your brain. No. It doesn't give your brain a chance to grow. These kids are denied access to stuff that will challenge them mentally in order to do that, to solve problems, etc. And just a computer versus a phone is such a different interactive experience. On a phone, the user interface is so intuitive that toddlers can use it, that babies can use it. I've seen animals use it. Interacting with a computer is a very different situation. You're actually interacting with a complex machine. The interface still kind of sucks, using a trackpad or a mouse and a keyboard for input, but I would say it's what is being watched on each device that causes the biggest difference. By just scrolling through shorts, you're not going to learn anything from that. You're not going to challenge your brain from that. It's a totally different situation.
Every blue part lit up depicts an area that's deteriorating. These brains are shrinking. Experts are blaming the damage squarely on excessive screen use. They believe playing games,
this is something I'm against as well. That's Flinders Street Station, by the way. But just parents giving their kids tablets and phones and like just leaving them to their own is completely insane to me. It's like just dumping your kid in the middle of the city and being like, hey, when it's dinner time, come back. You need some sort of oversight as to what your kid is watching, doing. Even when I was younger, like our main computer was in the family room. Nobody had like their own computer. I didn't get my own computer until I was 16 and I bought it myself.
Tonight, teenagers reveal serious changes in their behaviour and the extraordinary generational rejection of smartphones.
I feel like that's more of a, I just want to be different. Definitely. Look at me, I'm not the same as you, I have a different phone. It's this whole push for analog stuff. There's people that think having endless amounts of vinyls and CDs and cassettes is the best way to consume music. But we lived through that. We know the pain in the arse it is to keep track of CDs, keep them in the cases, swap them in and out. You have a limited amount of storage with you. The actual best method is like MP3s. It's sort of in the middle. Like you still own the file, you still have it, but you can bring it with you everywhere.
Max barely spoke to his family and often slept only 3 hours a night. His mother Abby had done everything she could to try and rein in her son's obsession, even buying a lockbox to keep the screens in at night.
Kids will always find that they're more motivated to get around technology blocks that parents put in place. And the parents generally don't know anywhere near as much about tech or are as motivated to block the kids from their tech in order to keep control of it. Yeah, it doesn't matter what you do, the kid's going to find a way around it. The best thing she could have done is chuck a password on his BIOS and then he doesn't get access to it unless she unlocks it.
What effort did you go to
to
get your devices out of that?
He just reset it.
I learned how to lockpick. I just,
He was just like Skyrim'd his way in with the lockpick to get what he wanted.
To get to his laptop.
That feels like such a forced term as well. This is like a term they've coined just for the show, for shock value. Have you ever heard digital dementia used before today in your life? No, never heard of it at all.
So the best example I have is...
That's interesting.
It just got
because
worse and
when
worse.
I was a young man, hand-eye coordination went up as you used the computer and played games. It was one of the few benefits that people would actually parade and talk about. Whereas he's saying, no, it's the opposite. Like, I got shitter at it. That's probably more to do with just sleep deprivation as opposed to using technology and a device. I guarantee you, if he was playing Counter-Strike, he would have really good hand-eye coordination.
When we grew up, there still was a balance between screen time and outside time.
Yeah, because a lot of the stuff we had access to couldn't maintain our entertainment for or our attention for long periods of time, you get bored of it and you'd want to go off and do something else. With just access to the internet, you can keep yourself endlessly entertained the entire time. There's no lack of entertaining things on there. I remember when I was young, like I had all these forums I was on, right? And I ran out of posts because they weren't updating fast enough. There wasn't enough activity on the forums. So I just get bored and go do something else. But these days, like Reddit is just constantly going. And like YouTube, constantly new videos. TikTok, constantly new stuff to find. You don't even have to make the effort to find the stuff. The algorithm just delivers it to you.
What you're doing changes in positive ways, and what you're not doing, of course, those areas slowly atrophy or slowly go away. And unfortunately, when you're on a device,
he's right.
you're giving up.
Because your brain is, it's a cringe term, but it's like a muscle. If you don't use certain parts of it, say critical thinking, or even just reading or language use, problem solving, like those parts of the brain will atrophy. Computers and smartphones have made just access to answers, like super simple. Like you can literally just talk into like one of the AI tools and ask it for an answer and it'll just give it to you. You don't even have to type it in. You just speak to it and it'll just do it. Now, the critical thinking bit is, okay, what's the source of this? Is this true? Is this not true? But also, to have critical thinking, you have to have a good level of background knowledge by which to weigh if something is bullshit or not. And I think we're not teaching kids that either. They're taught to trust authority sources without question. I remember when Google, people would just start saying, oh, well, it's on Google, so it must be true. It's like, no, man, Google's a search engine. You can't use it like that. Even Wikipedia. Wikipedia is based on journalism submission. So any article, if it comes from an authoritative source, is used as a source in Wikipedia, but it doesn't mean it's true. I think it's sad how many parents just offload raising their kids to a device. I've seen how it affects little kids firsthand. They're fully addicted to screens. Someone I know who's a little kid, he stole his dad's phone while his dad was asleep, and he knew the password to the phone. So he'd just wake up early, tiptoe into the bedroom, take the phone, unlock it, and then just play games until his dad woke up. And he got in some big shit for that.
This brain scan is from a teenager that spends 6 to 8 hours a day on devices.
Smooth brain teenagers. It's real. It's not even a joke anymore.
That's the same sort of thing we see in early onset dementia.
You're seeing signs of dementia and Alzheimer's in teenagers.
We're seeing changes in the brain, which are very similar to changes.
The interviewer goes like, oh, you're seeing dementia in young people. Is that what you're saying? No, he just said, look, we're seeing similar signs. They're totally different things, man.
That I think we all need to really think about now, because we're going to have a lot of...
Could this be...
kid was like this and I'm a perfect parent, so no.
Yeah, exactly. No, it couldn't be anything else. I think it's so prevalent now that we're seeing it across certain generation groups or certain cohorts that there's obviously something occurring. Have we nailed it down to specifically phone use? I think there's a good chance that is what it is. Beyond, say, social networks and phones and touchscreens, our lives are still fairly similar to how they were in the mid-2000s, late 90s. Like, yeah, tech has made things a little bit more convenient and easy, but in terms of where our attention is focused, we've taken it from radio, magazines, books, TV, and that's all filtered through a phone now. You still get people that will watch movies and stuff and do those other things, but the majority of their time will be spent interacting with like a screen device of some sort.
That's because at this camp, smartphones are banned.
Honestly, why the hell are you letting your kid bring a smartphone to a school camp anyway? That's not what you're there for. You're there to enjoy nature, spend some time outside of the school. It's a good way to build independence in kids as well. Like, they don't have to be chronically linked to their parents.
Specifically to get you addicted.
He's desperate to get through to this.
Yeah, like a dumb phone. That's all you really need for a kid. Good parents will know this, but lazy parents will see it as, okay, I don't have to parent my kids so much.
Numbers, not much else.
Yeah, you can just get like dumb phones, and they've got kid phones that are designed specifically for that. But then, one kid's going to have a brand new iPhone, it's going to make all the other kids jealous.
It's the latest scientific evidence that excessive screen use is shrinking brains.
He keeps pushing this point, even though the guy that brought it up to him clarified that's not what it does. It's different. See, this is why the show has no credibility. They just keep pushing like shock headlines and bullshit like that. There's no honesty from them.
They don't have the time to teach kids themselves the long way.
I would say they would need to make an effort to put more time into their kids. Like, where is your value system? Where does your value system lie? Is it in providing financially for your kids? or is it in raising them properly? Like, I get it. It is a time-consuming thing to have money to raise a kid, hold down a household, etc. It is difficult, but it can be done. I've seen parents that can do it. I know people that are doing it.
He's worried that his addiction could have caused permanent damage to his brain.
I'd imagine the damage is permanent because it stunts the growth of your brain during the developmental phase where it grows the most. Especially when you go through puberty from that point to your early 20s, like your brain just develops like crazy.
How do you feel about the idea now that you know the negative effect that it has?
All right, watch what his head does when he says this. He 100% blames his mum for this. Don't get your full time this way. How dare you?
Can you reverse the physical damage devices have done?
Yeah, that's a really...
Yes, we can totally fix it. Just use my promo code in below to buy the product. That'll fix it.
On the other flip side of it. And so it's an experiment that we're doing on
Yeah, but that one angle's not coming from him. Like, he dispelled that quite early in the program. Whereas it's the interviewer guy, the host of the show. He's the one that keeps pushing it. He brings it up every time.
It's enough to scare these young New Yorkers into action. While they haven't thrown away their smartphones, they're about to do something that many of them have never done before.
Also,
hey guys.
I'd say this push for analog tech from young people as opposed to smartphones and screens, it's not coming from a state of, oh, it's rotting and destroying my brain. I think it's more... They're chasing a nostalgia that they never had as children growing up. They want the childhood that our generation had, and they don't seem to get that because they grew up with phones and screens and they were just used to that already. They're chasing something that they just couldn't have. That was definitely a better situation.
I feel like my memory was worse and I was grasping for words and vocabulary. I couldn't quite remember anecdotes that I
mean, I get that too. I struggle picking up words and remembering things and phrases that should be common. I think that's, again, like if you just don't say it that often, you're going to lose access to it.
World, the tech brings all the stress that you used to get from the land phone, visits, etc. So if you just ditch it now, people don't stress you out by the old world means. They just write you off.
These days, everything is vying for your attention. The other thing is, like, we're used to seeing highly edited content. We're used to seeing people, they cut all the crap out. They cut all the pauses out. You only see people speaking very eloquently. They're reading off teleprompters. They know what they're saying. They're very well put together. That's not normal. Most people don't talk like that. And I've noticed this in myself as well. Like, I'm the sort of person that when I talk, I kind of buffer what I'm about to say in my head first, then I'll say it. It can be difficult to go from that method of speaking to like a continuous long paragraph.
I just what it's saying, because I will Google things I'm struggling to remember rather than just struggle.
I don't do that. I like the struggle. I like figuring it out myself. It's like if you're trying to remember a movie title or an actor name, I like the mental puzzle of solving it myself, which is stupid because, yeah, you've got a phone, you can just access the info right away. But then you don't get the, see, it's happening right now, that word I'm looking for. You don't get like the payoff of figuring it out yourself.
So next thing you know, I was setting up these profiles for these businesses, and then
so she was an early social media
a Facebook
manager.
Page.
More marketing job than coding.
It is. There's basically no coding. You don't even need to know markup to be a social media manager. And that's the type of role that this lady would have had.
She started having strange symptoms.
I was feeling so unwell in my brain that I had been going to see all these different doctors.
She said herself she would not sleep much,
words.
and she would often skip food, like skip important meals of the day. So you're nutritionally deficient and you're sleep deficient. I would say those two factors are way more influential than typing some bullshit posts on a screen for 8 hours a day.
It happened at the beginning of a trip to Hawaii, and the order to get off her phone came from her fed-up partner.
8 days later, it was as if somebody had...
This is a totally different situation. She clearly had a social media addiction. Her husband was the one who told her to put it away. And I'm guessing he was fed up of going on holiday where she'd be on her phone documenting or just making posts the whole time instead of being in a moment with her family at this nice trip. Like, I'm sure you've seen it. You ever gone out with a group of friends to get food? Oh, they're like, oh no, you can't eat the food. We're going to take photos first. Like, I'm hungry. I want to eat. You're going to get maybe 10, 15 likes on Instagram. That's it. Like, no one cares.
She's given up her smartphone for an old school flip phone. But that comes with everyday challenges, like no Google Maps. a vital, modern-day tool in the city of New York.
I would say this is taking it to the extreme. Using your phone as navigation is not brain rot. It's just a convenient way to get around. Using your phone to entertain yourself for hours on end while swiping through like short videos that your brain will never retain, that's where the problem comes from.
When she finally gave them up, she started feeling better. But every time screens started taking over...
I half expected that little board that she's got up to be like one of those conspiracy theory ones with the lines everywhere, and it's like, they're all going to do it. It's Apple, Apple's the problem. She's gone like full mental.
More than a decade ago, schools across Australia started what, at the time, was an educational revolution. Bring your own device to school. BYOD.
Dude, that's insane. We got yelled at for just bringing a Game Boy to school. They would confiscate it. And now they're like, hey, just bring your tablet to school, guys.
Abby Stove spent years trying to help her son Max beat his raging screen obsession. These days, she's relieved the 17-year-old has a healthy relationship with screens.
I will love it if, like, in the background you see their fridge and it's just got a screen on it. It's like, she's bought one of them. Come on.
Now in Year 12, Max knows it's almost impossible to expect kids to give up their devices. So, he hopes the government...
Oh, that is so bullshit.
Social media.
What, you're going to rely on the government, Big Daddy government, to try to solve this problem? It doesn't come from the government, it's parents. Parents need to solve this. I hate that thought process. It's like, oh, well, we just have to make it illegal to use your phone at school, or blah, blah, blah. But no. Personal responsibility and good parenting is a much better alternative.
There wasn't any disclaimer right before you turn on a game saying, hey, this might cause dementia later on in your life. I actually think that right when you boot the game up, right before anything happens, there needs to be an actual warning.
Your kids are just gonna find the one that's like, it does the most dementia. They're gonna sort games by maximum dimension, like this is the one you want to play. Yeah, his solution is horrible.
I would say the devices are creating that situation, are designed in a way to stop us from socialising. And the number one thing that actually uses more of our brain than anything else we can do.
That's funny, because I'm sure you all remember when the internet started picking up pace in the early 2000s. Computers and phones as well later on were all pushed as devices to enhance communication. They're a way to connect to people all over the place. And you're saying it's the exact opposite, like we don't do that. I think what's happened is, yes, it's made connecting with people far easier, but the connections that you make with those people, they're not as deep and in depth as they would be with like a real life person. So you've got like a more convenient, easier type of social situation versus like one where you have to make sacrifices to keep that social relationship going.
We form shallow connections.
Yeah, exactly. That's why ghosting culture is a thing. If you say the wrong thing or you get pigeonholed into like a certain group, people just ghost you. It's like, oh, that's it, we're done, see ya. Like you can't do that with a real friend group because you're friends with like, you might not be friends with everybody in the group. You'll be friends with like a few of the people in the group. There'll be people in the group that you don't like, but you got to learn to deal with those people. You got to learn to handle those people. And it's just part of learning how to fit into society at large. You go to a job, you're not going to be friends with everyone there. There's going to be people that you don't like. You got to learn how to deal with this. And I think a reliance of socializing through digital devices has stripped that skill set away from a whole generation of people.
Just socialising, just spending time with people you trust on a regular basis and chatting and doing those things will decrease the likelihood of you getting neurodegenerative diseases.
So that brings up another issue.
Parkinson's.
Where are people going to do that? Because everything is so expensive. It's very difficult for people just to hang out with other people now. You can't just like organise ad hoc to meet up with your friends anymore. People are busy. People don't have the money to just go out. You can't just be like, hey, let's go out on Friday night, whatever. Because everything's so expensive. So I don't see that as an option now anymore either. We've been coerced, or like basically society's changed so much that we've been pushed into mostly socialising online. It's almost a luxury being able to hang out with your friends in person as opposed to online. Yeah, I still maintain the best way to deal with it is you need responsible parents that know the harms of this stuff. They don't just use the device as an easy way out of raising their kids. Don't just offload your parenting to a digital device. But that's asking too much.